That's a big heavy tree. Oh, look, the saw is smoking, it's working so hard. All right, I'm gonna get a 9-footer for a post. And I cut this one down because it's leaning. Let me take my helmet off here. This tree has so much tension and compression wood in it. If I was to saw it for boards, they'd all curl around and it'd be awful. You'd never be able to use them. But seeing how I'm cutting this into a 10 by 10, it's going to be pretty stable, and I get to use this tree for something. It's actually was leaning into the field, and I am slowly but surely cutting back the woods to expose more of the field. So unfortunately, I have my tree hugger, but I cut trees down too. So we're going to cut what we can out of this, and the rest will be firewood. I might even give it to the neighbor since I have so much firewood on hand. That's the 10 by 10 post for either this one or that one. We have 4 oak posts that are 10 by 10. So, all right, let's saw up the first log here in the new sawmill location. Well, now that it's relatively square, I'm going to concentrate on getting 4x6s out of it. I think that's what I want for braces. I want to get 6 4x6s. Let's see if I can do it. All right, that gives me 6 4x6s, and they're 6 feet long, and those are going to be used for the 6 braces in the sawmill shed that are going on each bent. You'll see. All right, I got to get those off of there onto there, and they weigh an absolute ton. Edge those things and put all those slabs on the firewood pile. And I think today was a success. Cut down a tree, cleaned it up, separated the brush and the firewood, sawed up the 2 logs that I got out of it. All right, I have out of the woods and sawn up all of the pieces for the frame for the sawmill shed. So there are a bunch of pieces in here, underneath there. And I've got 4 10x10s in here that are for posts out of this pile. And we've got this stuff here, which is all the hemlock logs that I peeled a year ago. They've been sitting here drying. And so today's project is to sort through them and then saw on. I want to saw a flat surface on one face of them somewhere on so that the boards on the roof will have a nice flat surface to lay on. But that's only part of the process. So I just got started. I've been kind of thinking about this, going, oh, this could be a nightmare. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. Hopefully these things have dried out. I think this one here with the curly grain, we're going to use that as the ridge, and I'm actually going to wait to saw this one until the building is up, till I can get the exact angles for that. But anyways, we've got a few in here that are kind of got some sweep in them, and yeah, it's just going to be figure this out, how to make this round stuff end up with a flat roof. All right, that's it. Let's get going. All right, this is the first one, trial. I just kind of figured out a new method where I only want to take off a little bit to give me a flat surface. Of course, none of these logs are straight, so I'm trying to take off as little as I can so that the boards will lay on here for the roof deck. So I put it on here. I sawed 21 feet, cut that off and slid it back, and I was able to actually with the rollers and all the adjustments, I was able to get it just right and finish out the cut. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip it over 180 degrees and cut a flat surface down here that's parallel with the top, only in enough to land on the first rafter and on the end rafter. I don't know if you can see it. I didn't film it. I just went ahead and did it. Basically set the saw at 8.5 inches, since that seems to be about the thickness of all the 6 intermediate rafters. So I sawed it to 8.5 inches, and so that this is actually the bottom. It'll be flipped over, and this is going to land on the rafter. So that is parallel with the flat surface that I just sawed. And then down here represents this end of the building. And what I did is I took the chainsaw, made a bunch of cuts, and cut it at 7 inches. I'm actually going to chamfer these. And then this gives me the overhang on this end of the building, which I wanted. I wanted these to hang over, even though the sawmill ends where it is, to give it a little bit more coverage. So I've got 6 of these to do, and then I've got the ones that land here on top of the post, this one and on the other side. And then the ridge beam, I'm actually going to wait until I get all of them up to actually figure out the angles for that one, because I think that one's going to be a bit of a challenge. So all of these are all the same. I'm going to cut a flat surface, try to get 8.5 inches down there and 7 inches down here. So when I put them on the rafters, hopefully the tops will all line up. Now you know that this is 1.5 inches shorter, thinner than that side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make these posts a little bit taller by 1.5 inches. And hopefully that will make the roof flat. Anyway, that's my theory. I'm sticking with it. I'm almost out of battery. I've got 5 more of these to do, and then we'll on to something new. Well, last night I put this beam in, this post in here. It's a 10 by 10 piece of oak, and I decided that I'm going to plane it. It'll be even easier to do the layout on it, and why not? So I went this morning and down in the shop and got the power planer, and I found a bunch of pegs. So I am 1 peg short. Isn't that how it's supposed to go? And I think there's an old peg in the barn which I can reuse. So, and since my the wrench that I use to flip beams is only set up for 8-inch stuff, I'm going to actually flip them with this heavy-duty bar clamp, because there's no way I can flip that and still have shoulders by the end of the day. So I think I have all the components to start power planing this and doing the layout. So these posts all have just, the bottoms of the posts are just square. They're flat. There's no tenon on them. They sit on top of the concrete piers. And then I have to figure out the length and cut a tenon at the top. And there's actually a right behind me here. These are the angle braces. They're, I don't know, what are they, 3.5 by 6s or something like that. Yeah, that's going to be a whole scene too. So I'm kind of looking forward to this, and I'm kind of scared of it, but there will be no building unless I actually do this. So let's get to it. All right, there we go. 4 sides. I got to peel that bark off down there. And then I can start, I got to actually figure out the post height. That's the next step. I think I'll just take the power planer and we'll get that cleaned up. All right, there's the bottom of the post. All right, after measuring and measuring and going out and measuring again, this is what I've come up with. Basically, this is going to be a shoulder cut all the way around, and there'll be a 4-inch tenon, 4-inch by 16 inches tall, because along the drip edge there is an 8 by 10 that's going to sit over this. And then along the gable end, there's a beam, an 8 by 8, which goes the other direction. And the bottom of that 8 by 8 has to be at least 9'3", so that the sawmill head saw can go all the way up and clear everything. And I have to also take into account that there's going to be a 4-inch slab someday poured, so that means the sawmill is going to go up another 4 inches. So after all the thinking, I think this is what we got. All right, that's the 4x4 tenon sticking out of the top. I am going to spend some time cleaning it up. And then I got to go figure out where to put the mortise for the wind brace. Yeah, I was just thinking about this tenon, and as I struggled along, cut it, and it doesn't look very nice. I'm like, oh, I could put that on the sawmill, make 4 cuts, and it'd come out perfect. The only problem is, yesterday the alternator on my sawmill, the bearing in it went bad, and I'm supposed to have the new alternator today, and a guy's going to help me take off the old pulley and put that on tomorrow. So I'm 2 days away from getting the sawmill back running, so I'm stuck doing it the ugly way. This is the tenon on this 4x6 wind brace, and it's centered, and it's going to be housed in the post by 1/2 inch. I don't know what's correct. I figured that's going to be something. I'll route out a 1/2 inch depth. I'll mortise this and then route out the 1/2 inch depth, and hopefully that all fits in there pretty like and a little bit stronger. All right, there is 1 post and 1 brace. It's housed in there 1/2 inch. And you can see I actually changed the tenon up here to make it 3x4, because the beam going in this direction is a 8x8. And I think shrinking this up is gonna leave more meat on the on the beam. All right, yesterday the new alternator showed up and transferred the pulley to the new alternator. I'm gonna put it back on the sawmill, and hopefully they're everything works as it's supposed to. So, all right, I put the new alternator on, and let's see how it runs. All right, after the battery dying on me and taking the shrouds off 2 or 3 times, and I think I had the belt on the alternator a little too tight, and finding some other loose stuff up on the engine. So I think it was actually a good thing that I had to go through this, because I found some stuff that could have been a problem in the future. Anyway, it seems to run. Doesn't have that awful burning smell or the high whining pitch of the bearing that's all burning up inside. So I've got 3 more timbers to take care of, and then all of these rafter parts will be ready to go up on the roof when the time comes. All right, I got all of 9 of these hemlock pieces sawn. I gotta flip that one onto the pile. Believe me, they actually came out okay. This one here is a little thin. I marked them all with charcoal. Went into the burn pile and I actually found some charcoal. Works pretty good. There are 3 in the front, the 3 biggest ones. One's the ridge, and the other 2 are the ones for the drip edge. And they've got to go back on the mill, but not until the building with the rafters are in place. So I'm just happy to get these a flat edge on these. So the boards are going to lay on here. For the roof boards are going to lay on here. That's the purpose of this flat edge. And you can see, even if it just makes it or just a little short, I'm happy with that. I think I can get a roof that's relatively flat, better than nailing boards onto the round stuff. All right, I haven't filmed very much because we've had our fair share of drama here, but not going to get into that. That is the last post. I just have to cut the top of it, and I have to do the wind brace, the angle brace for that post. And then all of the posts are done. We've got 2 over there and 4 in here. And then after that, I've got all the horizontal members, which I'm right in the sun here, that have to be taken care of. So it seems like I'm making progress. It's just... All right, I just keep forgetting to film stuff. Sorry about that. This is the top plate at the end of the building where the double doors are going, and that's actually the bottom. It gets flipped over. And so I've got to cut a mortise for this angle brace, and I got to cut a 4x4 through mortise for the top of the tenon on that post. All right, there's that one. That housed mortise, I guess what you call it. I just have to do this through mortise all the way through here, and this beam is ready to go up. All right, I just have to clean it up a little bit, make sure it's at least 4 inches square and the sides are nice and even. And this beam is ready to go out and get installed. I got the first bent partially set up, and I've got this big cross brace that I've already let in. I'm going to see if it fits, and when I tip it up, I'm going to put one in the other direction, make this wall and the wall over by the tractor super strong. So let's see if it fits in before the battery disappears. Pretty good. Let's see if we can get this side to go in. Excellent. That's ever coming out. Wow. Thought this was gonna win, but maybe not. I think that's pretty good. We'll get one in the other side, and I don't think that's ever coming apart. Anyway, here's one of them. Next step is to plumb it up. Leave the tractor there for a bit. Gonna plumb it up and put the straps on that connect all of the posts down onto the footings. All right, I plumbed them up and I bolted them all in place. And the plumbing in both directions, so I can't ask for anything more than that. I'm gonna go eat lunch. This looks really awesome. I was really worried about drilling through here, but I was given this bit from a good friend of mine, and that is the ticket for that, and a speed square for getting through and drilling from both sides and getting everything lined up. So I am thrilled with this. I still have got another cross brace to do in here, but that's just gonna have to wait until we get I want to get these 3 walls built. All right, it's lunchtime. I'll be back. All right, now I just gotta square it up, and then I can I'm gonna put the brace cut in for that brace, which I've already done on the other one. Close enough. All right, that's the end of the day for me. I am thrilled. I got the two sides up and that piece up there. Tomorrow I've got, I'm gonna work on the other diagonal braces on either side. I've got to peg that and fasten all that stuff there together. And then I'm going to work on this beam across here, which is a 8x10 oak. Similar to this one, but this one's going to have two rafters, a little king post and a rafter on top, and that's all in pine. I'm thrilled it's coming together, and I didn't think I'd get this far today. So looks like we've got another week of no rain, kind of in a drought. Everything is a dust bowl around here, but it's good for me. I've got I'm thinking 4 more days to get the majority of this done, and then I have to go on to the garage. So we'll see how it goes. All right, this is a pretty good shot of this tenon that sticks up through this top plate here. And the reason why it goes from 4x4 to 4x3 is because the beam coming this way, or the top another plate core of the truss, is only an 8x8, because that's all I could get out of the second log out of the tree. And so that's what we're going to use. The one this way is an 8x8, and I thought a 4x4 just leaves too little meat on either side, so that's why they shrink up like that. This one does, the one on that end there does also. All right, I just have to find a block to put in the middle, and I'll put a bolt through, and those will all be done. There we go. That's it. That's both braces in place. All right, I got it all up, pegged off. I got some trimming to do. This peg, sometimes pounding them through oak, pegs through oak beams and stuff. If you get one that's a crazy grain. So I'm either going to cut that off and drive it in as far as I can. You know, I got to cut it off about... I've tried before in the past drilling them from the backside, but the drill doesn't like to drill into the grain, and it just doesn't. So I think I may just cut that off and pound it in as far as I can. Anyway, I got some big 10-inch spikes up in there, all holding that together. First time I've used spikes like that in a timber frame, but I think for this stuff it's appropriate. All right, this, you're saying, Brian, why did you build it so it's oversized? Everything's oversized. Well, this cube is the whole strength of the entire building, because the bent that goes on the far piers only has bracing left and right. It's tied into this part of the building, this cube, which is giving it that other strength. And so I wanted to make sure that, and also, if you've watched my videos in the past where my first sawmill shed got crushed by a giant tree, I'm hoping that by building from the second bent on, all in oak, that we kind of alleviate that problem. I don't want to clear any more trees. Yeah. Anyway, this is me doing things a little on the oversized scale. That's it for this video. I think it's getting long. I'm gonna do the second video. We'll be putting up the far bent and all the rafter, all the roof stuff, which is going to be a whole scene. I've never worked with round timbers, round poles, I guess you'll call them. So it's going to be interesting. So thanks for watching. Like I say, there's another video coming up. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to posting it. So thanks again. I'll see you soon.